What's going on, guys? This is a video of some ice fishing from a few weeks ago. You're looking down the hole at a trout eating my jig in 3 feet of water, and that's a brook trout. This is in northern Pennsylvania, pretty much a lake I've never been to before. I was snooping around different lakes around like the northern part of the state recently, trying to find good ice fishing. When I came across this situation, it turns out there was lots of nice fat brook trout hanging out in this one section of this one pond. And I'm using a Swedish pimple tipped with waxworms. This trout, I just missed him twice, and he's still down there. And he's going to come back and he's going to eat it a third time because, I don't know, these trout were kind of weird. They were in a weird mood, you know. Sometimes they were coming right up to it and eating it. Other times they were swimming around for like minutes at a time, nudging it. Look at that one. That was a nice one right there. Crazy head on him. He ate it, and I caught that one. And I mean, they were fighting good. These fish actually fought really good. Unfortunately, I'm not at liberty to say where this is because, you know, it's a very small spot and like a very unique thing. Look at that. There's 3 of them down there. And that one hits it, and he misses them, and then he comes back and he hits it again, and I catch him. But it's the run of the bunch, so it's like, who cares? But another one comes up. That one is like the old, decrepit, mangy grandfather trout right there. He's slow and old, and these trout, watching them eat the whole time I was fishing, taught me a lot about their ways. You know, I've trout fished many times through the ice, and never have I seen the fish eating my jig. So what I realized is these fish are constantly swimming around down there, looking at your jig, nudging it, mouthing it, and like of all the times they come up on it, they only eat it, you know, every so often. Usually they're not coming over and slamming it, you know. Every now and then they come over and slam it, and that's great. But yeah, as you just saw, there's rainbow trout here too. It's not all brook trout. There was other species of trout here. And beautiful rainbow too. I don't know how long he's been in this pond. Who the hell knows? But this was another day. I came back here twice this year, and brought my buddy Kenny with me. We were getting him real good, you know. Like, look at that trout. He came right over. Didn't think twice. I mean, he was hungry. A lot of times they're hungry. A lot of times they come right over to it. And again, yeah, just beautiful brookies. And it was cool. At one point we were fishing here, and I'm walking over towards Kenny. And he's like, don't move, like, come over here, like, just be real stealthy, be real quiet, come look at this. I was like, what's going on? Like, you got a giant under there. And I look down, and he sees this, and we think it's a muskie. He's like, dude, there's a muskie right here. And I'm like, no way, dude, it's not a muskie. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, holy crap, it is a muskie. And then we take a closer look, I realize that it's a chain pickerel. It's a big chain pickerel. I mean, it looked like, you know, it had the head of a muskie. I don't know. It was real cool. We ended up spooking them. And here I'm jigging the same pink Swedish pimple. I just have a fathead minnow on there. These brookies were really not too picky about what they were hitting. They were hitting everything. It didn't matter what you were dropping down. They were coming over, investigating, swimming around, and they were eating. I mean, you would coax them into eating. You know, you would see them down there. You'd play with them for a while, and I mean, this one in particular, I cut out like a minute and a half of this video. This trout, particular trout, he's been here for like 2-3 minutes swimming around, and finally he eats. And yeah, another good one. I mean, they're all good. They're all good trout. And then this one comes up. He kind of mouths the bait. I miss him. You can see the line pulls through his teeth. I don't know, some weird stuff. But then later, Kenny's dropping down a tube jig right here. That trout is just sitting there waiting. This particular hole was one of the honey holes. You know how whenever you're ice fishing, you know, there's always that one hole where all the fish are. And this was that hole. And, yeah, Kenny's dropping down a tube jig, missing these fish like an amateur. And there's just more and more coming constantly. Like, they're down there by the boatload. And look at that one. He got that one, you know. That's a good one. But he catches that. He yanks it out. I drop my rod right down. And immediately, you know, have trout looking at it. I shouldn't say immediately hook up, but they come right over, and Eventually, I do get one, and so we just plucked 2 trout out of that hole, and we release them, and then Kenny drops down again. He puts a minnow on for some reason, and the trout are there. They come right over, and at this point, I don't know. I guess this was a different hole. Look at that trout. He's all like fat and he's got an attitude. He's like swimming around like he's mad at something. He's got like anger. He's like an angry trout, probably because he's ugly and fat. He's missing part of his tail. That one too is not looking too healthy. They're both looking kind of unhealthy. I didn't catch either of those. I don't know why, but that one looks like a totally different kind of trout. He's silver, much less color to that one. Maybe it's just a female trout. That's probably what it is. That's Kenny using the tube, though. Just stuck that female trout. That's a nice one right there. That one with the white fins and red belly. I think that's a male. And both of those right there, like very photogenic, like nice looking trout right there. Beautiful. State fish of Pennsylvania right there. The brook trout. And look at that. Stuck them. And you got a sad brook trout on the line. And this is still in the honey hole, I'm pretty sure. If this isn't the same honey hole, it's a different honey hole because you can just see how many are down there. It's just like a constant influx of fat-ass brook trout coming in for the wax worms and the pimples and the tube jigs. Kenny drops down the tube jig, and I don't know. I remember at this point, though, I was filming and Kenny was fishing, and he caught like 6 trout while I was filming. We were having a little competition to see who could catch more, and it was tied up for a while until I started filming him catching them, and then he caught 6. But it's not surprising. At that point, it was like I don't even care just because there were so many of them. So Kenny just yanked that one out. I dropped my jig down. I have the camera rolling, and I have the rod in my hand. I can't see the fish. I can only feel the fish, and I get them. But, who wouldn't have got them? Kenny drops down immediately after, hooks another one. It was like pandemonium brook trout ice fishing. At least at this point in the day. It was pandemonium. Earlier in the day, it was slow. We were picking one here, picking one there, hopping around hole to hole. You would see one here, see one there. But then for, between maybe 3 and 4 o'clock, that's when we started seeing the big numbers of them. This trout right here, he was just kind of swimming all around. He wasn't eating. He was just nosing the jig. He would come up, nose it, and leave. And then this one was a different one. I'm pretty sure it's got like a different color. That one ended up eating it on his second look. And we threw him back. We threw back all these trout. All these trout were released. That way we could catch him again later. That one just comes out of nowhere and drills it. And he's got like a dark mouth, dark gills, dark chin. This one was kind of a weird one. Definitely had some black, like especially right above the white tips on his fins. Yeah, they got like some black and white lines. I don't know. Brook trout are beautiful fish. I don't see enough brook trout. I live in Philadelphia. There's not brook trout around here. You have to go far away to catch them. They're natural in Pennsylvania. That's why they're the state fish. And they stock them. This one in particular had a really fat back. You can see he's got like these like ripples like just above his dorsal fin. You see those ripples on there? I don't know. I was kind of intrigued by the fat ripple backs of these brook trout. Just like fat-ass brookies. But that's all we got for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed watching, and I will catch you next time.